DEI.
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 Is DEI hiring a problem at the FAA? In his first week in office, President Trump signed a host of executive orders, 2 of which reversed 4 years of work to increase diversity, equity, and inclusion in the federal government that took place under Joe Biden.
Every White House component and every agency will be involved in this work because advancing equity has to be everyone's job.
With several others focused on reshaping the US military. One executive order terminates all mandates, policies, programs, preferences, and activities in the federal government that the Trump administration considers illegal DEI and diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility programs.
America will once again become a merit-based country.
One order, titled Prioritizing Military Excellence and Readiness, also barred transgender people from enlisting and serving openly. A 2021 Department of Defense Office of People Analytics report on workplace and gender relations of military members, which surveyed 98,690 members, found that 0.4% identified as transgender. And after only 3 weeks in office, recent comments from President Trump in response to the Washington air crash have brought DEI hires and policies back to the forefront of conversation.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative.
But what is DEI hiring, and is it really to blame? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, are frameworks within organisations seeking to promote the fair treatment and participation of all people, particularly groups who have historically been discounted because of their identity or disability. What part does DEI hiring have to play in respect to the collision between American Airlines Flight 5342 and the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter in the air over Reagan Airport on January 29th?
A report by the Federal Aviation Administration says staffing in the air traffic control tower was, quote, not normal at time of the collision.
A statement released by the family of Rebecca Loback, one of the pilots of the Black Hawk helicopter that collided with Flight 5342, highlighted her achievement and credentials. After gaining over 450 hours of flight time, she earned a certification as a pilot in command. On the inclusion of women in the military, specifically combat roles, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense and former Fox News presenter, has said that the military standards are lower because of their inclusion.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. Over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
At a recent Senate Armed Forces Committee hearing, Hegseth appeared to have changed his position when challenged on his comments.
As Secretary of Defense, will you support women continuing to have the opportunity to serve in combat roles?
Yes, women will have access to ground combat roles, given the standards remain high.
But what is the situation at the FAA? And is DEI hiring a problem? A White House memo was released suggesting that the Biden administration recruited individuals with severe intellectual disabilities in the FAA under diversity, equity, and inclusion hiring. In 2010, President Obama ordered federal agencies, including the FAA, to prioritize hiring more people with disabilities.
During President Trump's first term, the Department of Transportation announced it would put an end, at that time, to use the biological questionnaire that was introduced by the Obama administration, which punished skilled applicants.
In fact, the FAA expanded their efforts to hire people with disabilities, announcing in 2019 a program to hire 20 people with disabilities to become air traffic controllers. In conclusion, President Trump has provided no evidence that these policies had any connection to the fatal crash in Washington.
For the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
As America deals with the aftermath of the accident, there are renewed concerns about air traffic control staffing, and the cause of the crash remains under investigation. In addition, other organizations are reviewing their DEI programs, Meta, Amazon, Google, and McDonald's to name a few. A recent poll by Reuters found that 51% of Americans were in favour of the removal of DEI initiatives, showing only marginal support for Trump's executive orders. The President of the United States suggests that we need to rethink DEI. But is this really the pathway to a more progressive, safer, and inclusive future? Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button for more videos.